Welcome to the True Crime Cult channel. Here is your leader of the True Crime Cult. Hey, what's up, guys? I dropped some of my own content today, and I would like to play it. For a lot of my viewers who probably haven't seen it, I go into a lot of stuff about Inan Harsh and quite a few other people. Let's get into it, guys. There's the link, Sophie. Hey, guys. Hey, guys. What do we know about Inan Harsh? What do we know about Christ Church? And
Question.
Inan Harsh be Papa Rogers? I mean, if you look at it, the way Papa Rogers spaces in between words, the double space, Inan Harsh does the same thing. And Inan Harsh's name on Reddit is I data when you sleep. I data when you sleep. Now, we all know that he's a chef, and his nickname is Chef Dizzy. And he's not a computer programmer, he's not an IT person. So, why is his name I data when you sleep? What's he collecting data on? I mean, I would like to know, and I'm sure you, as my audience, would like to know what he's collecting data on. Is he collecting data on?
Oh, this is your video.
Is he collecting data on the people that lived in 1122 King Road? And he has made the statement before that when he was 17, he had inadvertently walked into somebody's house without knocking. What would stop him from walking into 1122 King Road, quote unquote, accidentally, and maybe getting a test for the waters? Or maybe just to see what was going on? Because, I mean, after all, he did claim to meet Xana and Ethan, and he did claim to meet Kaylee, and he gave Kaylee an open bottle of wine that he was cooking with, and he didn't want to just throw it away or dump it out. They found evidence behind 1122 King Road in the parking lot that's right behind 1122 King Road, and it was one single drop of blood.
They did?
One lone drop of blood behind the house in that little raised parking area.
Oh.
I wonder whose that could be. Could it be Mr. Harsh's? We don't really know. And why did the killer choose that house instead of the other houses surrounding it in the area? I'd like to know why the killer chose that house. It's like they were singling that house out and not the other houses surrounding it. And you never know. Inan Harsh could be not only Papa Rogers, he could be inside looking as well.
Mm-hmm. And your wife's boyfriend?
Because of the mistakes in grammar. All three of them share. Inan Harsh's mistake in grammar on his Reddit page, I Data When You Sleep, the Papa Rogers grammar, and Inside Looking's grammar. All three, all three tied back to one person, Inan Harsh.
There was two more.
And prior to the preliminary hearing, apparently, Inan Harsh was subpoenaed for this case. And yes, this case is a very complex case. This case is a one of a kind case. It's a once in a generation case. You know, it makes me wonder also about Doug Wilson and Christ Church and how his faithful followers actually view the university and its many fraternities and sororities. And their loud and sometimes raucous sorority and fraternity parties. And some of the female students who lived at the crime scene were in sororities. So you never know exactly what's really going on in this case, guys. You really don't. And how come a private driver, or I should say a taxi driver, has revealed that the house where the murders took place was a known party spot, while adding that where people go to get drugs. The taxi drivers went on to add, I used to drive people there all the time where they got their drugs from. And don't get me started on Dylan and Bethany. Yeah, they're sus as all hell. Why is Dylan the only one mentioned in that PCA? You don't find Bethany anywhere except for the spot where it says their phones were digitally downloaded. That's the only time Bethany is mentioned. Through the entire PCA, it's Dylan. Dylan this, Dylan that. And what 21-year-old would say clad in black? She saw a man clad in black with a black mask. Now, see, I would believe it a lot more.
You're like, nobody says.
If she would have said, yes, I saw a suspicious person and they were dressed in black and they had a black mask, a black face mask on. Or I saw an individual, he was dressed all in black and he had a black face mask on with bushy eyebrows. See, those two comparisons I can believe. You know, I can get around the whole, I saw a man clad in black. Nobody talks like that. Seriously, nobody talks like that. And I'd like to touch on Brian. He was a newbie there at WSU. How do we all know that he didn't stumble onto something very suspicious going on there at Washington State University, and he started asking questions about it? I mean, he could have came on a little dirty secret that WSU was doing, and being very intuitive, he started asking questions about it. And some of the people there at WSU started getting leery of him, started getting mad that he was sticking his nose into some place where it didn't belong. And maybe that's why he's sitting where he's sitting at right now.
Right?
Because the university didn't like him, him being a new person, a newbie, didn't like him sticking his nose into a business that didn't pertain. So possibility that's why he's sitting in jail right now is he was framed because he discovered something that wasn't supposed to be discovered, and now he's paying the price for it.
Hmm.
And just like Rosendahl, the Moscow PD officer, who is creepy as all hell, who was harassing the victims, who took a picture of Kaylee's ID. Now, I know in some states that's allowed to do that. The police officer was allowed to do that in some states. I'm not sure about Idaho, but I know in some states they're allowed to do that. But how come Rosendahl didn't do that at the house he had previously left? Because he was at 1127 King Road before 1122 King Road. And he didn't take a picture. He didn't take a picture of anybody's ID there. He only took a picture of Kaylee's. Why didn't he take a picture of Hunter's? Because Hunter was sitting right there. That's baffles my mind. Hunter was sitting right there. He could have asked Hunter for his ID to take a
That's
picture.
such a good point.
He only took a picture of Kaylee. Why is that?
Yeah.
And why are they so quick and to judge Brian? How did he come? How did he come across their radar so quickly? How did they blame him so quickly?
What if he's the informant?
And don't say the button snap on the DNA. Don't say that. There was a molecule of DNA on a button snap. Not enough to test. So what did they do? They fabricated a strand of DNA. A fabricated strand of DNA is what they're relying on. And just like Dawn Daniels said in her search warrant for Brian's office and Brian's apartment, she was basing the search warrant off of probable cause, not off of the DNA test, because she knew there could be a possibility that the DNA would be ruled inadmissible. So she wanted the search warrant to go off probable cause, not tied to the DNA. This entire case is sus. And what else do we know? Linda Lane. Now now Stacy Chapin says 2 a.m. is a dark hour. And
Why?
what would have her believe that?
Yeah.
Well, for one, at 2:03 a.m., you could hear a dog bark on the Linda Lane. 2:40, you could hear somebody whistle for a dog, maybe Murphy. 2:44, you heard the sounds of screaming and crying, and somebody saying, "Help me, help me, help me."
Jesus.
And then you have Inan Harsh stating that he went to bed between 2:30 and 4, but he wasn't for sure because he doesn't pay attention to the time.
Except at 2:30 and 4.
How does someone not pay attention to the time? Because he said the time he went to bed was between 2:30 and 4, but I don't pay attention to the time.
Right.
Why, Mr. Inan Harsh, don't you pay attention to the time? And just like a clip I showed yesterday, there was a question. If he was such an introvert, why would he move into a party town / Greek row? And he dodged the question by saying vaulted ceilings.
Oh, I have a good answer for that.
Nobody cared. Nobody cares about your vaulted ceilings. That wasn't the question that was asked. The question that was asked, Mr. Harsh, is why, if you're such an introvert, would you move into a party town / Greek road? That was the question asked. He dodged the question. He didn't answer it.
I think that was his answer.
And what did Steve G mean by there's a whole other level of data being collected to open up more investigators? And what I know, it will all be brought out in trial next year. A whole other level of data being collected to open up new investigators. There's clearly something big going on in this case.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly. I don't know whether it be sex trafficking, human trafficking,
Drugs.
drug trafficking,
Drugs.
possibly, because they have the Quad City Task Force. And why is it you have two people that was arrested for murder for an overdose death of that University of Idaho student? Why were the charges just dropped?
Hmm.
Are they working as CIs? I sure would like to know that, if they were working as CIs.
Mm-hmm.
But like always, like, subscribe, and share my channel.
What do you think, Miss Sophie?
Well, I had some things since I watched this, and then I read some of your comments. And one of the people in comments to this video made a comment that they live in Washington, and somebody had. This is not their exact comment. It's just something I remembered from the comments, but it was like they live in Washington. Washington, I don't know if you guys know, has had a serious drug issue, like Skid Row in California for 20 plus years. And so they made a comment that somebody that they knew, or there was some relation there or something, had an overdose, and the person that took them to the hospital was not in trouble. There's like an amnesty thing in Washington. So I think that the Emma Bailey story, which I could be wrong, that was that they literally like brought the person to the hospital, or was it that they sold drugs to a person and the person overdosed? Do you know?
Yeah, they sold drugs to this person. Yeah, I can't remember his name, Chad. If you can remember the kid's name that died of that drug overdose at the hands of Emma Bailey and Demetrius, let me know.
Well, those Emma Bailey and Demetrius aren't making drugs. You know what I'm saying? They're selling drugs.
Yeah.
That's awful. But whoever made those drugs is the person who killed that person, really. And I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I know.
I know. I'm just saying, like, maybe that's part of it. I don't know, because that's not like in here in Idaho. I'm pretty sure there's some kind of amnesty where you can take somebody to the hospital and not get in trouble. But I could be wrong. Maybe I don't know. But I did want to comment about the vaulted ceilings. If we rewatch that whole video right there, what he's saying is he has those devil sticks. I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
Devil's clubs. And his point was making that point, even though he kept interrupting that woman in the interview, right? But his point was that he couldn't find any place with vaulted ceilings. Like he was going to, and then this is also from your comments. Somebody said he was going to school in Pullman for data analysis. I do not know. I did not look that up. I didn't have that much time to look at other things today. So I was curious. I don't know if somebody else could look that up or tell us, or if I could get a second to actually look at my phone and check chat. It seemed like somebody said he was going there for data analysis. So there's an answer, but he doesn't give it well. And then when he says that about the vaulted ceilings during that interview, I think it's cut at a weird point where it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
But
I
at the
know.
same time, I also don't. Well, the one thing right there, and you know, I think he's sus as hell. But the one thing in there that I think is weird about what you're saying is that man has got to be like 25 or older, right? That's not a college. If he's a college student, he's lived in those apartments for like 12 years.
I believe he's 30 years old.
Yeah, see, that's.
Hey,
Oh, go
AR.
ahead.
I see AR in chat.
Oh,
AR,
perfect.
if you can help me out, how old is Inan Harsh? Is he 25 or is he 30?
Oh, he's way older than 25.
Yeah, and hopefully here in a little bit we might be having a guest, Dinky
Ooh.
from. Yeah, I invited Dinky over to panel tonight.
Awesome. Cool.
Okay, thinking about it, he's 30 years old.
Okay, so yeah, so he's an adult, and all those people are like 18, 19, 20. I had a kind of a
Yeah.
weird thought earlier about the wine. Like, I'd like to know when that story happened. What's the possibility of that's what is he literally saying that is what happened that night? What if he took a bottle of wine over there that night? What if that's just my crazy brain? That was what I was thinking. I was like, maybe he's telling us his story right then, right now.
Well, see, from what the way he put it in that one interview, he had met Xana, he had met Ethan, and he had met Kaylee. He took Kaylee over an open bottle of wine that he was cooking with, and he didn't want to waste it, like throwing it away or dumping it down the trash. So he went ahead and took it over to Kaylee, and according to him, Kaylee said, "Oh, cool, fuck yeah, wine. I love wine."
Cool. Yeah, I'm 20 or what? 21. That's super funny.
Wayne B, I don't know if that was Enon at the grub truck in the yellow poncho. I don't know that. Yeah, Wayne B says, was Enon at grub truck wearing yellow poncho? I do not know.
I don't think that's him though. Though that kid looks like him. I don't think that's him. That when I watched that grub truck video of every different person's version that made it. And I don't think that's him. I think it just looks like him.
Yeah.
Because
David
I think
Bird
that's a
said
kid.
David Bird said he stole the wine from his work.
That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me at all. The bonus of being a chef.
AR, but I wasn't for sure. AR says Enon was not at the grub truck.
Right. Yeah, that's not him. It just kind of looks like him, and I get it because everybody else is just like a white kid, and he's got like darker skin. But I don't. I'm. That doesn't look like him with the poncho, though. He does look like the kind of guy who owned a poncho.
Yeah.
Not to be a jerk. I mean, they're kids, but at the same time, like, he's so suspect to me. And I got to be honest that I was like, I'm only gonna say it because AR's here. And I'm like, I watched his video last night of the I can't even talk now. I watched this video last night and I was like, oh my God, like you crawled into my brain, AR. And I was like, yes. And then I woke up this morning thinking snitches get stitches. Snitches get stitches. It was like one of the first things I thought this morning when I got up. I was like, oh, snitches get stitches. And then I thought, oh, those were more than stitches.
Okay, now why, Sophie, why do you believe that the killer chose that house instead of choosing the other houses around that house?
I think that house would be really easy to get into. I think it'd be very easy to get into. There's 2 doors. There's that sliding doors. There's 3 access points that could be unlocked just left unlocked, or I think that you could easily get in. Like you could, if you were a party person, this is just me. We should ask AR actually, because I think he's broken into places. But I think if you were been like in somebody's house hanging out, I think there's something you can do. Like I don't have a sliding door. I have French doors to my backyard, so they have an actual lock.
Yeah.
But sliders just have that like little claw thing that you turn down, and I think you could put tape over that or do something while you were there. Like, let's say you went over and you're like, here's this wine. Here's some wine. What are you guys doing? Oh, I'm the neighbor. And then like, you know, leave the sliding door. Oh, I guess there's 2 sliding doors, right? Is there a sliding door on the patio upstairs on the top floor? And there's a patio,
There's
like a sliding door.
There's a sliding door on the 3rd floor, but there was no stairs to the third
Thanks, Sarah.
to the 3rd floor. But here's what
Right.
Rachel said: if he lived next door, it would be very easy for him to go over and creep around while they were at school and such.
100%.
Now-
And he'd been in there before they moved in. If he'd been there for 13 years, they hadn't even been there for like a year, I don't think, or had they been there for like a semester or 2?
Well, I know there used to be just nothing but guys that lived in the
Right.
house before all the
They
girls
probably
moved
never
in.
locked the door.
So he could have went in there while, you know, when it was just nothing but guys. And there
Mhm.
there was a little key. Apparently there was a little keypad number button for the lock on the door. If he had been in there when the guys were in there, he could have got the little code for the punch pad on the door, or he could have
Right.
saw
Or,
some,
yeah. He could
or
have
he could have
seen
saw
that.
one of the
go in
male
and out.
roommate. He
He
could have
is-
saw one of the male roommates punch the code in.
Oh, big time. He could have binoculars over there. He could be spying all the time. He could see, I mean, it looks really right. Like his window looks out towards their house. Like he could observe when
Yeah.
who was home. But I still think, this is just me, I think he was in there before they got home. I think he got in there when nobody was home. Or whoever got in there. I think they got in there. before
Hi,
the kids got
Ashley.
home.
I
Yeah.
hope you're having a good time on your dinner date with your husband.
Mm.
But I mean, here's the thing about Inan. If you go back and you look at the Papa Rogers Reddit, and then you look at Inan's Reddit, they almost match. You know, with the double spacing.
Oh, yeah, they
between
totally
the letters
match.
on the Papa Rogers, and the double spacing on Inan's page. I data when you sleep. It's a match.
Right?
So what's the possibility that Inan isn't Papa Rogers?
Oh, and Soup Man to the Moon. And what was the other one? I swear it's like your wife's boyfriend or something. Your mom's boyfriend, your wife's boyfriend.
Yeah, I think so. And what's the possibility he could possibly also be inside looking?
Oh yeah.
Because if you
Well, I looked.
Because if you look at all the bad grammar between all three of those pages, it points back to one person.
And he's old enough. And then maybe not old enough really, but he's old enough to be the kind of person that would do the double space before the start of a sentence. Because that is not somebody made a comment on that someplace, and I kind of wanted to clarify that even when I saw it on a video, was that is from typewriters. Because if you typed too close, the ink, like you had to do that on a typewriter. So it wasn't in like word processors came along and they did it for you. And then that was just part of the English thing that I mean, kids don't do that anymore, but they also don't write in proper English most of the time
Grammar.
anyways. Proper grammar for sure. Yeah. And it's so, like my minor in college was English. So when I see stuff like that, I'm like, oh God, gosh, I have to look up acronyms all the time. I'm like, what does that even mean? What does this child
Yeah.
even mean when they're talking to me? but I could see like a 30-year-old dude doing the double click more than I could see like a 20-year-old some person doing it,
Yeah.
And his grammar is strange. To me, I can't get over the thoughts. Thoughts?
Yeah.
What do you think of this? Thoughts? What do you think that they had to go into the
Yeah.
house? Thoughts? I mean, that's weird. That would be the key to me of it being the same person, to be honest, about like one thing they always say, and they're like inviting conversation. You know what I noticed in the Reddit group, the Idaho 4 Reddit group? I noticed a lot of comments that were like kind of off, like kind of Papa Roger or like Enon-esque type things. And the username had been deleted. I took screenshots of them because I was like, who is this person? They'd be like a random comment that had been edited, deleted, whatever, but the person wasn't there anymore. But they were like,
David Bird brought up an interesting question. Also, he regularly drives to San Francisco past where those Oregon knife killings were in 2020 and 2021.
Yes. And those things are weird. Who was I talking with? I've been talking with a couple of different people about that too, but like the whole those killings, both of the killings, the Oregon and Washington, and everything's so close over here, Oregon and Washington and Idaho, we're all like relatively close, but we're not close. I mean, it's still, 10 hours or something, maybe from like Eugene. It might be 12 hours from Eugene to Moscow. But like, I don't know. Those murders are super interesting and unsolved. And the younger couple, where the woman survived, that was weird. And do we know what kind of knife was used in those? By chance?
David Bird, what kind of knife was used in those? And Micah, I'm also a one-peck typer as well.
That'd be awesome. Rachel, I would love somebody to interview him again. I watched a body language guide talking about Brian in court, but I wish somebody would do one of the body language people would do something about Inan. Because I think he's doing is all, go ahead.
Well, I understand about the vaulted ceilings, but in that one interview he did with the Matthias chick, he leaned forward. He looked at the question because you could see him lean forward and look at the question because it asked if he was such an introvert. Why would he move to a party town / Greek row? He looked forward and looked at the question, and then just went vaulted ceilings. So he saw the question, but he dodged it.
That's a good point. Yeah, he did. He is dodging it, but he's dodging it in what I think is that the duper's delight sort of way, where he knows he's dodging it and he's kind of laughing because he thinks he's going to get away with it.
Yeah. Now, do you want to watch that interview again?
The interview with Inan? Sure.
Yes.
I mean, sure. Let's watch it.
People in chat, do you guys want to see that interview again? Give me a 1 in the comments if you want to see the interview again.
Yeah, Nina, that's so true. Like did you see that in the chat that she was saying that all those people were vegan too? The other people that got murdered. See, and that I saw somebody linked it to a case over in Atlanta, Alabama, someplace in the South. But I thought that was funny because in the comments, I did screenshot that because that was weird. In the comments to that on the Idaho 4 Reddit page, somebody wrote, "That's interesting. His car was in the shop that day." And I want to know who said that. The person who said it, their name was gone. But how would you know? How would somebody know that? Who was commenting? Who's commenting to make the point of saying his car was getting, his tires changed or rotated or whatever was going on, that his car was in the shop? Who would know that? That wasn't him or his parents.
Hey, Cindy.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of ones. Hey, Sudie. Yeah, I thought that was such a weird comment. Of everything I've seen on that Reddit group, the person that said his car was in the shop it's just beyond me. That's the strangest thing I'd seen.
Yeah, this guy's just, he's just
But
super sus to me.
You can get these unexpected live streams. I have a very important guest with me right now, somebody that I hope can bring us more insight. I am with, will you pronounce your name? Inan? Inan.
Inan Harsh.
Inan Harsh, also known as Chef Dizzy, as you see there. Inan is a very, very important part of this Moscow homicide investigation because he was a neighbor of the 4 victims who lived on King Street. And I just want you to share with us what you know. Many also have heard of the neighbor that possibly heard a scream. This is that person that I have with me now. So I'll let everyone know this is going on. We'll try to take some questions as well, but right now I'm going to start with my questions because I have a lot of them. I want to thank you for being here. And first off, I think we should just start by taking us back.
No, Jamie, it wasn't.
To that night. The things I've heard in the news from you, Inan, are that it was an unexpectedly quiet night. You wrote about the crime on social media, and share what you remember from that night. Is that a good place for us to start right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, I work about like 10, usually
Good,
like 9
Micah.
to 11-hour shifts. So I went to work. I got off around,
He has a
it was
knot on
around
his
12 that night. It
forehead,
was kind of like a late
Sophie.
close, and I like bullshitted with like a coworker for a little while after work, and then
How interesting.
I went home. It was
He kind of
around,
does,
I
huh?
don't know, like 1:30, 2-ish a.m. Maybe when
Try
I
to
got
zoom
home.
in.
Maybe and
It's like a total perfect circle.
I'm always like kind of hoping that I have like a parking spot right in front of
Like the butt of a
my
knife.
door when I get there, because like lots of times on campus, there's like parties and like they're pretty full. And so like this time I noticed that like, I don't know, it wasn't really any cars as usual. I was like, cool, I'm gonna get a nice spot right in front. And there was I did, and I saw like this sort of like kind of like decked out like luxury, like I thought it was black SUV, maybe like a Beamer or something, and it had like rims, tinted windows, and I was like, oh, that's like a pretty cool car. And then like coming out, like I noticed some like plates from like kind of curious what kind of like different plates are like around and stuff, because usually you just see like Idaho, especially in like my parking lot. And so like I came in, it was like surprisingly like pretty empty that night. Like none of the houses and like that on those like 2 streets were just like doing some contact staff drills and like stretching. I think I played a game of League, and then I went to bed, and then
Chef Dizzy.
The murder.
Some
Yeah, and it
drunk
was like
dude.
it was kind of a trip having like the cops like come on and like no one knew what happened. They're just
What happened? It's so quiet. Where'd everybody go? I'm doing good, Lori. Are we skipping an audio, Ashley?
actually the house like the next house over.
Yeah, I see you guys. I see
People
that giggle
I
as
like. I don't.
Duper's Delight. Totally looks like Duper's Delight to me. Not necessarily that he's the murderer, but he seems like Duper's Delight.
I just
Are we up?
got sent this. The similarities keep adding up between Papa Rogers and Inan Harsh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, the video that AR put together yesterday or the day, whatever, that he put out with the snitches, that's like a whole nother, that was like a whole nother take on the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I know. I saw it too. Okay, this one's not wanting to play, so we'll just go back to
What
this
about-
one.
Empathy here.
I wonder if it's StreamYard making it difficult for us tonight.
I don't know. Let me do something.
Nothing Havass can hear me.
Okay.
I can hear me too. I don't sound like when you guys hear me when I re-listen to the videos. I'm like, that's not what I sound like. Maybe it is.
I did press play, Ashley, but it's not wanting to. Let's see.
Whose hoodies? Whose hoodies are we talking about?
It's weird. It's just not wanting to play.
Ghost in the Machine. Thanks, Ashley.
Here's this one. See if we can play. His is not wanting to play, Ashley.
Okay, well, then we're not watching it.
Go back to this one.
Yeah,
They were
what-
at like I want to say 1-ish p.m. 1:30.
okay.
1-ish p.m.
So
From
shortly
the-
after the police were called, then, in other words.
Yeah, they came home instantly. It
Okay.
was a big deal.
We have another question here. Are you a student? How long have you lived there?
I'm not a student. I've been cooking for like 6 years now, 5 years.
Okay.
I've lived here off and on for 20. What was the last question? I missed it.
It was. Are you familiar with the activities at the house? I assume they mean the crime. You were at their house when you met them, right? I'm referring
No,
to
I
a Reddit.
I ran
thing
them.
with
They
the
were
rope.
actually outside. I never went inside.
Okay.
But no, I didn't. I didn't like. I was in my apartment all night. So
Okay. The
Mhm.
night of the murders, or the crime, you were in your
yeah,
apartment all
I
night.
never really hung out with
Okay, here
them.
we
So
go.
like,
Finally.
to me they were just.
Penis in my stomach. I'll tell you that. Especially
I
Enon admits.
hear Doc 50.
Back to it.
Hey, everybody, welcome back.
Who also
I think
put
you
out
see
a
this
new video I
is
haven't
all
seen.
allegedly pure speculation, going off my gut feeling. Don't wrong with what I said. Yeah, guys, happy President's Day. I hope everybody's had a great 3-day weekend. Mine's been great. We're going to go ahead and jump into this, start reviewing the rest of this list. I want to mention that in this series moving forward that I call Too Many Coincidences, it's going to be critical that you go back and watch some of the videos that I've started posting starting about 5 days ago. The reason why is because they will lead to some of the clues that I show moving forward in this series. So thank you so much for your patience and bearing with me as I go slow. There's no need to rush with this content because the research that I did to create this content, I didn't rush either. So I'm not going to rush
You
to show
falling.
it. Okay, I'm going to go step by step. Last we left off, I was down here on subpoenaed.
Yeah.
And
Robert,
people
can you
that have
turn
been
up the
following
volume?
along with this case, they know that Enon was
What?
subpoenaed for this case.
Can you turn up the volume on the
Prior to
audio
preliminary
for
hearing, Enon
crime
received a subpoena,
lies and
where he would have
videotapes?
had to appear for that preliminary hearing.
Ashley says they can't
So,
hear it.
could you imagine being subpoenaed for this
Is
case?
that better, guys?
This is a one-of-a-kind case. All right, we've never seen
A
a case
little
like this
better.
before. And to be subpoenaed for this case, I mean, that would leave an emptiness in my stomach. I'll tell you that. Especially
Yeah.
the way Enon admits that on the live that he went on with TNT, where she asked him, did they talk to him at all about the subpoena? And Enon admits, no, nobody ever called him. No, as a matter of fact, nobody ever even called him to tell him that the preliminary hearing was canceled. So literally, he was going into this preliminary hearing with no idea what they were going to say to him. No idea what they were going to, for all he knows and all we know, they could have put him on the stand and Ann could have tried to make him look like a liar, and that could have been one of the ways that Ann may try to get Brian off, is to show that
Uh-huh.
somebody else had opportunity to commit these crimes.
Truth.
And that
Absolute truth. That's
somebody
the best way
else
to get him off.
doesn't like to tell the truth. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, that would leave an emptiness in my in my stomach, you guys. Imagine being
Yeah.
subpoenaed for this case.
No,
Right.
thanks.
But let's go over here now. I want to mention to you guys that in my last videos, I had shown where, to my opinion, my speculation, that there was a possibility that Enon and our suspect, Brian Koberger, were both playing the same role play video game, right? Remember what I did, and I showed you that Enon has clearly played League of Legends, and he admits to it in his interview, all right, and also wrote it in his AMA, that when he got home that night after hanging out with a coworker, that Enon got home between 1:30 a.m. and 2 a.m., right? He went into his normal wind down routine, had a cup of tea, some stretches.
No
And he
kidding, Sudie.
thinks he played a game of League, right? Meaning League of Legends, which I showed in my last
LOL.
videos, where he shows in 2016 on Twitter under the name Acid Tabs that he is playing the game League of Legends, even back in 2016.
Acid
Like I said,
tabs.
well, he even admits
Yeah.
to it. He uses
Ah,
the
interesting
game
name.
as part of his timeline of events that night. Okay, and let's listen to it real quick. Make sure I got volume turned up good for you guys.
Did you
All
hear
my
what he
friends
just said?
call it
Hold on. Let's
lol. Lol.
go back.
So, like I said,
Listen to what he
even
says.
admits to it. He uses the game as part of his timeline of events that night. Okay.
Did you hear that?
Yeah. And
He
you could
uses
be
the
on that
game as
game.
part of his timeline of events.
So he remembers one time he was playing the game, and that's a game online, right? So like the game, they could subpoena
Yeah.
that server and find out exactly what time that person was using it. But when I used to live next door to a bunch of dudes who played that game, and they would be over at my house with their their headsets on. We were in a duplex, so they were just like one door over, and they would be still talking within the game. So I mean, you could be in the game and not sitting in front of your computer. Like they wait on campaigns, and they'll be like, "I have to wait. We have to wait for 12 other people to get here," and they're like, "Oh, we're waiting for 30 minutes till this other person gets here." So you might be in playing the game, but you could also be like we're doing now. And it's kind of like chatting with the people in your group and like doing whatever. They wouldn't be like necessarily participating in the game. I don't think that's a true alibi. If you were to get actual witnesses up there that knew what they were talking about League of Legends, and they could be like, oh well, you could step away and still be playing, which is weird. Not, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but like Crimes, Laws, and Videotapes just said,
Totally.
he
nothing.
used the game as his, and he was talking about the timeline in the game.
Right.
So
Yeah.
how would he know about the timeline unless he's setting the timeline up in the game?
Or like paying attention, like he just said, I don't pay attention to time, blah blah blah, whatever his quote
Yeah.
was. But he does know that time. He knew little times. He knew what time he got off work, which I'm guessing if he closed down the kitchen at 10, it's just my guess is the restaurant. Maybe the restaurant's open later there. I don't know if we ever knew what restaurant he worked in. So like,
well, he claimed he didn't. He claimed he didn't get home till like 1:30 a.m.
Yeah, sure. Like you close down the kitchen and you have to clean, and like you still have to do all the work afterwards. You're not gonna get home like I work at the music venue when we have like bar and all that stuff going on. I won't get home till like 3 or 4 if we close at 2.
Yeah.
So, but he knew what time it was. He knew what time. He knew he knew he had hung out with a person from work or whatever. Then he'd gone home.
Yeah.
Did he walk home? Is he a walking type person? What kind of car does he drive? I have all these questions, and I'm sure there's answers. We probably know them.
I think it shows in this video what kind of car he drives.
Okay.
And let's listen to it real quick. Make sure I got volume turned up good for you guys. So like I said,
that is funny, Ashley. People definitely do drugs. All the drugs.
I'm just bringing this
all the
out
drugs.
of the air. Inan uses this game, League of Legends, as part of his timeline of events, the night of the crimes. But let's listen, you guys. Let's hear him talk about that and some other stuff.
For us to start right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I work about like 10, usually like 9 to 11-hour shifts. So I went to work. I got off around, I think it was around 12 that night. It was kind of like a late close. Then I like bullshitted with like a coworker for a little while after work, and then I went home. It was around, I don't know, like 1:30, 2-ish a.m. It's maybe when I got home, maybe.
Maybe. You just Makes me
Night,
believe
Randy.
he's not even being genuine right here. But let's keep
Not
going.
Randy.
And you know, I'm always like kind of hoping that I have like a parking spot right in front of my my door when I get there, because like lots of times on campus, you know, there's like parties and like they're pretty full. And so like this time I noticed that like I don't know, it wasn't really any cars as usual. It's like cool.
And here in a second, guys, we are going to talk about Inan's timeline of events and what he said he saw sitting at this corner when he got home between 1:30 a.m. and 2
Why was he
a.m.
sitting at that corner
That's
though?
coming up. And
Right?
you know, we're going to talk about some other important details about this light bulb cam on what I think that come trial time that I hope we get a chance to see. All right. And I'm going to explain something to you and break something down coming up that I think you'll find very interesting. That is either going to help Inan or hurt Inan.
Cool. I'm gonna get a nice spot right in front. And there was you know, like I saw like this
Now, you hear him say right there, a nice spot right up front, right? I'll just go to that now and show you. Right here is the area of where Inan's apartment is, okay, on the end units. And what Inan is describing as, oh, great, I'm going to get a nice spot right up front. Inan likes to park in this area where he doesn't have to walk far to get to his apartment. So what he means is, oh, nice, I'm going to get a spot right out front. He means right here, out front. And then that's why I have this set up.
Yeah, I know. Actually, it does, doesn't it? She says it looks like a motel.
Atlanta had
Yeah.
him on, and Inan is also describing the spot that he likes to park in. And notice how dark it is out here, you guys. I mean, it is pitch black. And this man describes that he's able to see license plates and remember license plates and stuff.
But all he remembered that was
Find
kind
that
of
kinda hard to
sandy or
believe.
something.
All right.
Yeah. He-
Check this out. Right. Okay. So this is like going up, you know, like you just pass the King house and you make like that little right, you know, like watch the video. So
We have your head.
if you don't mind me asking, like, do you guys have like assigned parking or?
no, we just kind of park wherever we can. I try to park as close to the stairs as possible.
These ones?
Right there. As close to the stairs as possible. Right? And that's what I just showed you. Over here. In the Gray Hughes 360 view. As close to the stairs as possible. Now there's two sets of stairs. One is further down. He's talking about this set, the front set.
It
because
actually
his
looks like a
apartment's
motel.
all right.
Yeah,
Now,
it does.
We've determined where he likes to park, right? This is a video of not long after the crimes. Okay. Just after the students' cars were towed. Chronicles of Olivia was on scene. Okay. Now let me show you an important detail about where Inan likes to park. You see this? What you're looking at right now? It's the rear parking area of Queen Road Apartments. It's that back lot,
Mm.
right? And as the camera pans over, you can still see the snow. So you know it snowed there. It's not that long after the crimes. It's before Brian was arrested. Long before.
It's
So
really
as you
nice
see the
ceilings.
camera panning to the right,
That's
you're
his.
going to notice there's cars parked in the spot,
Hey, Jan.
Inan's favorite spot that he likes to park. You see those cars, right?
Hey, Jan.
Well, huh?
He owns a
Darn,
white
both of them,
car.
first off, don't resemble white cars. That one on the
Ashley,
left,
it is?
damn if it don't resemble an Elantra. And damn if it doesn't like have a little rear tail light that actually stretches into the quarter panel. You know everybody that's
They
talking
all look
about
the
Linda
same.
Lane
All
right
those
now?
cars look the same, Damon.
The car that made the loops around Linda Lane. Well, why couldn't it just be this car that's parked here
That's Enon's.
right after the students' cars were towed?
How convenient.
Parked right in Enon's favorite spots. So, you guys remember the car? You guys probably remember this. That passed in the Banfield body cam.
Oh.
Right.
God, this
Right
guy,
here.
how does he find this stuff?
Just around 3 a.m. the night of the crimes.
Well,
Let me show you something.
Nothing half-assed. Is the peeper the guy with the camera? I couldn't remember. I saw, or with the
the two
flashlight.
cars.
Somebody did a video, and there was a
that
person with a
parked
flashlight
in
walking up
Enon's
real
favorite
slow.
spots.
now look at that. Look at the
Okay.
comparison.
See the one on the left? Let's bring it in a little closer. Hold on. Let's make it a silhouette. There it is.
I love how good he is with computers. Yeah, that's the
That's what I
same
want you
type
to
of
make
car.
note of.
A
When
Fusion,
this car in the body
a
cam
Dodge Neon. Just kidding.
is passing by these law enforcement officers, you can't help but notice that the tail light comes to like a little point in the rear quarter panel of that car. This is the one that passed in the body cam, right? The original. And what the distinctive tail light right here that comes into the quarter panel of the car, kind of like an Elantra, but not totally like one. An Elantra, it comes in further. But what it looks like to me is a lot like that one would.
Enon's busted.
And then you're welcome to fast forward this video and go back to the body cam and you see where that light is shining on the rim. It's fixing to shine on the rim of this car. I'll show it in my next couple videos. Looks just like that rim. Now, Inan said he got home at between 1:30 a.m. and 2 a.m. that night.
That body cam was 3 something.
Well, this car is parked in
In
his
Banfield?
favorite spot. Interesting.
Yeah, Eric,
Yeah, I'm going
exactly.
to pick it up in the next video, you guys. I got some other things I want to talk about. We're going to continue to talk about this list. Next up, Inan left to
Too
San
much.
Francisco.
That's funny. Nothing half-assed.
Coincidentally enough, early morning hours of December 15th, and I showed everybody I discovered that months and months ago. You know, right after Brian and his dad were pulled over on their way back to PA twice for tailgating. Coincidentally enough, Inan left after that. Like as if, you know, he was worried, a little scared. But then also, he
Really?
left. Coincidentally enough, he left only 2 days after this interview with Lauren.
That is very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah?
He left 2 days after that interview. Went to San Francisco.
Is it so weird that his parents and or like I don't know, it's both his parents. Clearly I know he has a mother, but like wherever his folks live, are they like right there? Like why wouldn't he just go there? I don't know why he wouldn't just live there. I guess because he doesn't want to drive an hour to work.
Well, his folks live in Johnson, Idaho. Here's that new one.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Everything you see in this video is all allegedly pure speculation, going off my gut feeling, a hunch, and don't run with what I say. Yeah, I hope everybody's had a great week, you guys. Let's go ahead and get started. I got some things, some comparisons I want to show today. Pick up where I left off. Superman to the Moon. Wall Street
Oh, I like
Bets.
this one. I love how
3
he's
years
like
ago.
making soup in the video.
My data.
This is the video I
Wall
had
Street
told you about
Bets.
a long time ago when we first started talking about Inan.
And Harshina 7. Wall Street Bets.
Yeah.
3 years ago.
When he has that,
So,
I'm going to say it,
as you
karitsu,
know,
his knife.
it's my opinion that these accounts are one and the same. Created by one and the same.
But why?
Also make
But
note
why?
that Papa Roger, that you see right here, started his account on Facebook on November 29th, 2022. And right here on November 30th is when he wrote his information about the sheath being left behind. So, and he got that one right. So Papa Roger, November 29th, 2022. And then make note, Suitman to the Moon, November 28th, 2022. Papa Roger, the 29th, Suitman to the Moon, the 28th. That's what you see right here. See Suitman to the Moon that I'm on right now. Was posting on Wall Street Bets 3 years ago on June 11th, 2021. And then coincidentally enough, jumped into the Moscow unalivings first post, November 28th, 2022, as you see right there. So what a coincidence. Suitman to the Moon, who I just showed, Idaho When You Sleep, Harshina 7, and Suitman to the Moon, all posting on Wall Street Bets, have posts removed in the same time frame these posts used to exist. They have been removed in the last 4 months. So
Wow.
Papa Roger created his account.
That's what I was
over on
saying about the
Facebook
names
the
being
29th
deleted.
and
That's why I was
posting on the
curious.
30th. And then what a coincidence that Suitman to the Moon on the 28th of November was posting over here. Thoughts on the 28th of November?
That one gets me every time.
Okay. And then that's the same thoughts that you see right here on December 2nd.
Thoughts?
Papa Roger, right? You see that? Thoughts from Papa Roger.
See the double
And
spacing?
then thoughts from Suitman to the Moon. Okay. Again,
Yeah, that could be.
the unaliver is not a student. Thoughts
Written
written by Papa Roger. Ethan did not live at the crime scene. Very possible the unaliver didn't know he was there. Thoughts?
Thoughts?
The date of the unaliving was chosen on purpose. Thoughts? The unaliver has a sexual dysfunction. Thoughts? All
That's
written
the
by Papa
13th, like
Roger.
those other MERS, huh, Nina?
Yeah.
The same
All in
thoughts
13.
that
All the
you see
13th.
right here by Suitman to the Moon? Question mark. And then Idaho When You Sleep, that you see right here, written 3 years ago, and this is where Inan wrote his AMA, Idaho When You Sleep. On Zilla, anyone know, got some thoughts by iData when you sleep. Okay.
Yeah, Eric, and he's
Right
putting them
here.
back up.
Under Keller's question, Papa Rogers writes, okay, thoughts? Make note
He's
of the
talking to himself.
lowercase t in this thoughts. I could swear that looks like the same lowercase t that iData when you sleep, which is Enon's account writes right here. Thoughts? This is written by iData when you sleep, which is Inan. And then this thoughts, okay.
Ashley, I was like, what did she say?
Written by Papa Roger.
True.
What a coincidence. That's
I could see a
written
teacher
exactly
doing
the
that.
same.
Yeah.
Along with all the other thoughts that match up to the way Superman to the moon write. What a coincidence. Let's go over to here, you guys. Some people remember this. Enon was talking about he picked up a hitchhiker, right? 2 girls and a guy one night. And Frank, he was talking about it on with Frank. Let's listen to it real quick.
The only other thing I remember that night was, you know, there was like one neighbor that returned home while I was sleeping, closed their door. You know, so I heard like 2 door shuts, the car door and the apartment door. Another thing I just kind of dismissed, and I still don't think that's important. And yeah, that's, you know, that's kind of, you know, the only like other thing I found that was kind of interesting is a couple weeks, I don't want to say a couple weeks, but, you know, a few weeks before, I picked up a couple of hitchhikers.
So Enon.
Yeah, this is a weird story. This is a weird story. Weird.
Enon has a history of not being able to tell the truth. Was asked a direct question by Lana about Frankie Arnold and did he know him? And Enon said no. Was asked and said he didn't have no Twitter account, has had at least 2 existing for 6 years or more. Says he doesn't follow social media, isn't on social media much. He's a super hermit, has over 20 social media accounts. Okay. His changing of stories with his coworker and coworkers that night.
On campus, right? They were trying to go to the next party and it was really cold and they're like, we're not trying to walk or whatever. And they were or shut the car door and the apartment door. Another thing I just kind of dismissed, and I still don't think that's important. And
but
yeah,
I said it anyways.
You know, that's kind of, you know, the only like other thing I found that was kind of interesting is a couple weeks, I don't want to say a couple weeks, but, you know, a few weeks before, I picked up a couple of hitchhikers on campus, right? They were trying to go to the next party and it was really cold and they're like, we're not trying to walk or whatever. And they were going to a couple houses down, they're going to like a party over there or whatever. And you know, like the girl's pretty cute. She was kind of hitting on me, and I was like, "Oh, this girl's pretty cool." The dude in the back was
true,
like,
Jamie. So true.
He was a little bit sketched out. He's like, "Yo, like, people know where we are if you try to kill us. Like, people know where we are." And I was like, "Okay, that's kind of weird, bro. I'm just like, you know, talking to this girl, pretty cute, and like you're like thinking I'm not gonna stab you. I'm literally just giving you a ride here. Oh, I had to get some gas first, so maybe they were like a little bit sketched out. We could like a detour, but
hold on. When was this?
It was like
Frank asked him, "When was this?"
I think November, like early November. I remember it was snowing, so it was winter, but it was like a little bit ago. But it was yeah, it was.
So like right about when these
winter,
kids got murdered.
So
yeah,
early November.
And that's, I got to tell you, what a dirtbag that he picked up a couple and then was flirting with the woman.
Well, this is Enon we're talking about. He doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's almost in his favor.
That Enon posted. I wonder if this hitchhiker I picked up on Halloween, not early November, on campus to another party, he never gave directions. He was so drunk, so I started driving home. Well, you just said you were like going in the opposite direction. You swung by a gas station. And of course, it was one of my neighbors. He kept saying people knew where they were if I was trying to kill them. And I was like, what the F?
Winter starts in November
so this
up
was
there,
Halloween,
Eric.
according to this very Reddit post that Enon put on Reddit. But over here with Frank, he conveniently forgets, and now it's early November. So let me explain to you, and I explained this to a content creator a few months ago.
What was
Do
that?
you
The
know why
start of
you
winter.
think that guy got into the car with his two girlfriends and immediately said to Enon, hey, if you try to stab us, people know where we're at? Do you know why he said that? It wasn't because Enon just all of a sudden freaked him out. It's because Enon was dressed in his Halloween costume. They were all dressed in Halloween costumes. They were all on their way to parties.
Weird.
So I wonder what Halloween costume that Enon was dressed in. And I wonder if maybe the guy said that because he saw a knife maybe sitting on the seat.
Good night, Micah.
Part of Enon's costume.
Oh, night, Mocha.
And then leads me to believe maybe, has Enon ever crashed a party dressed in his costume?
Yeah. And that's like north
Either
and
way,
high elevation, Eric.
Yeah, that's a
Our
very good
winter
question.
starts
Has he
here in
ever
December,
crashed?
though.
Has Enon ever crashed a party in a Halloween costume? Could he have crashed the party at the house when they had that Halloween party?
All over the place. A million people could have crashed that party with a mask on, right? What about during COVID?
Yeah.
Everybody has a mask on.
There's another just coincidentally story change. Just seems to only
Jan,
remember
is
what
that
he
the?
wants to.
I think it was bubbly, Jan.
Did it happen on Halloween or did it happen on early November? But it wasn't snowing on any of those days, by the way. Let's go here real quick.
What was the first rumor that you heard?
Someone told me that there was a heroin dealer and it was like a low-key party and they were doing some opiates and
super
one of the
low
girls
key.
overdosed and the dealer threatened.
I'm sorry.
Said that like was threatening them not to like say anything, and he got worried that they were gonna like tell the police, so he like killed all of them so there wouldn't be a witness that he was selling them drugs. But as time grew on, I think that was just a fucking bullshit rumor. You know what I mean? And like knowing these girls, like I've seen these girls and I've sold heroin and I've dealt with a lot of.
I sold heroin.
Yeah, I've seen these. I've done heroin.
Right there.
I've sold heroin.
He used to sell heroin. This is the article. Idaho unaliving suspect Brian Koberger was a heroin addict, was in rehab. Koberger's former coworker believed the suspect must have cleaned up after going to college, adding that Koberger was in and out of rehab a couple of times, so more than once.
That's sad.
Koberger's friends in high school also claimed that the suspect had struggled with heroin addiction. I was still getting some comments on some of my videos that people were still unaware that Enon and Brian had a connection with heroin. They were wondering why I had put that on my list. That's it right there, you guys. And I'm going to go into the next video. I have some other things I want to set up, but what a coincidence with Superman to the Moon and
Truth,
Papa
Eric.
Rogers
Total truth.
with thoughts. Thoughts. And then the lowercase thoughts by Data When You Sleep right here. And then the lowercase thoughts right here by Papa Roger. Yeah, more to come, you guys. I wanted to show these coincidences, these similarities. We're going to the next video. Talk soon. Take care.
Not just more to come either. He was like,
That was
more to come.
very
And then he
interesting.
put, yeah. Oh, these videos, this is like I was saying, I actually probably might not have even really thought about Inan. Maybe I would have just assumed it was BK also and whatever. But I
Yeah.
saw these Doc Thrifty videos when he put them out last year or whatever. Or it was a while ago, right? It was definitely a while ago. And I was
Yeah.
like, holy crap, holy crap, holy crap. And it's so there's too many coincidences, that sort of thing. But then again, I said
Yep.
like open to all possibilities again, because I watching that new AR video and I thought, oh my God, like then I thought about some weird coincidences. Now I can't get out of my head. Like, well, what do you guys think she told Adam? You know what I mean? Well, what'd she tell Adam?
Yeah.
Are we ever going to know? I mean, there's so many things.
Now, see, my uncle, Lord rest his soul, he died many years ago. He told me when I was a kid, a lot of times when if someone says Adam, it could be a police unit, it could be a person, like the gentleman that was bartending at the corner club. His name was Adam Lauda. But how do we know if it wasn't actually a police unit? She was saying, I told Adam everything.
Oh, because she's 21.
Yeah.
Because a 21-year-old probably is not going to say that. Like, they're not going to say clad in black. But like maybe a 40 to 50 or 60-year-old, 70-year-old person might say Adam when talking about cops.
Yeah, and my previous statement before in that video that I did today, I would believe Dylan a lot more if she would have said, I saw a suspicious person, they were dressed in black, and they had a black mask. Or I saw an individual I didn't recognize, they were wearing black with a black mask. Not, I saw a guy clad in black.
Right?
What what person says I saw a man clad in black and
No one.
with a mask and bushy eyebrows?
Well,
It's just her. It's just her statements are non-statements. Yeah, Nina, that's true. Nobody knows what she actually said. That's what Nina just said.
Yes, good point. Yes, correct. That's what I kind of consider the whole gag order. And there's that point also one of AR's videos of like, we truly don't really have any facts.
No, we don't.
Everything we're saying is alleged and conjecture. None of us actually really know anything more than what you guys know. That's why it's so much more interesting to have these conversations and to get everybody's different opinion right now, because we don't have the actual real truth of anything yet. What if we never get it? I don't know. I hope we do, but I mean, that's the truth. We don't know yet. Nobody knows.
And just like what Steve G has said, there's a whole other level of data being collected that's going to open up whole new investigators.
Right? That's
Now,
that was a
now,
weird thing to say.
yeah. Now here's the thing. You do have the Quad City Drug Task Force operating in that area. Moscow, Oregon, Idaho, and Nevada. You do have, you do have them operating in the Quad Cities. Now what if the whole other level of investigation is the Quad City Task Force, possibly human trafficking, sex trafficking?
Yes, all of it. I mean, look on a map and you see where Moscow, Idaho is. See where it's at, and then look to see. These are just some different things I can think of. You should check. I could check if you want me to see how many airfields or how many runways, small airports there are in that part of Idaho.
Now, see, here's the thing, though. Now, do you know that Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana didn't grow up that far from each other?
In Idaho?
Yeah, Xana grew up in Post Falls.
Mm-hmm.
Maddie grew up in Rafton, and then Kaylee grew up in Coeur d'Alene. It's a fucking triangle. And what is off of those three cities? Freeways, drug ports.
What? Oh yeah. I mean, that is a major Highway 55, the highway that goes right there. I mean, that's a huge drug trafficking area. I've known that since I moved here in the 90s. It's been a thing. They have like huge, massive drug busts in that area. Or whatever. Like that to me, the only reason I consider that a heavy, decent possibility or different, had really thought about it today, actually. Only one of the reasons I was thinking is because there's no blood. Like I don't know how they got no blood on you. I don't know how you got no blood on you. If you're in a room that it looks like it's maybe like, I'm guessing that room's like 8 by 6 something.
Yeah.
8 by 8. I mean, it looks tiny, right? You get the bed in there that's got to be like 7 feet long, and then you go maybe like 4 feet wide.
Yeah, because according to Christy, Mandy's room was so small. I mean, the bed was just about touching each wall.
Right. And you could barely open the door into it. So it's like, this is this tiny room. How do you be? And I know, did I read someplace today? I don't know if that was in comments. I don't think it was in comments here. Was it in comments someplace else? That somebody made a comment that said, if the person stabbed them in the lungs, they wouldn't be able to scream, and something else. And if they cut their throat or something like that. But if somebody stabbed the one girl 30 times or some shit, there had to have been some blood splatter, right? I mean, that's how that works.
Yeah. Now, if you look at Kaylee, they said got the most brutal, between her and Maddie. Kaylee had a sliced liver and a punctured lung.
Now, here's the deal with your liver is pretty big, but like somebody do that on purpose. A smart killer who took the time to go in there and be prepared so that they can leave no trace and all those things would probably have an idea of anatomy and be able to purposefully, maybe, I mean, clearly, again, we don't know. It's just, I've just seen a lot of television. Maybe this is just too many Law and Orders, but it seems like they'd know.
Yeah, here's what Eric said. I think they knocked the house down because they know the murders happened at Linda Lane. Just another theory, no truth to it, but plausible, and that explains why there is no evidence in the house.
Oh yeah, see, and then I saw that. Where is the person that Papa Rogers put that one? Did you put that up where it's like the where the bodies are at in the house?
No,
And everybody
no, I
kept
didn't
saying,
do that one.
oh, I'm like, oh, I don't know. Now I don't. Now I'm mixing my videos all up. But somebody had one of the Papa Rogers things. I think it was Papa Rogers. It might have been one of his other names. But like, and it was said something like, I think this is where the bodies were at in the house. And it showed Xana in the room. And then inference to kind of like the blood on the outside being Xana. And then Ethan somehow in the living room.
Now, see, from what I heard is that the blood dripping down the outside wall was Ethan's.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. And then today, I think whatever video I saw today that had that literally, and maybe it was the new Crime Lies and videotape, because I know that he did mob it. I see you, Ashley. There was that was the comment, was that I'd never considered that, and I really had never considered that Ethan wasn't in the hallway, which is not really a hallway, at the stair, like right out his door or something. I hadn't considered until we watched some other video where they were saying that it looked like the cops were doing something with like a body, or doing some evidence, something collection, whatever, in the living room area that you could see from outside. And I don't know about any of that. I've not had a chance to really dig into everything today.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. I'm looking, or right now I'm on Reddit looking up inside looking.
Yeah, because I haven't seen that one on Reddit. I love all the subreddits, and you get so many weird things that people talk about, but I don't use it often enough, and didn't realize that it kept the quote, or it kept the comment, but it would take the user's name away. And so is that done by the user, or is that done by Reddit? If somebody closes their Reddit account, is it like make you not viable user anymore or something?
I don't know. But there is something about the 400 witnesses.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. We've had a trial for like 7 months.
Okay, here's something. Yeah, let me see if I can share my screen. I found something. I think I found something.
Isn't that true? Nothing half-assed. I know. I've noticed that we can't go back and find some things. I'm thankful that a lot of people say stuff.
KG and MM discovery timeline. We have some information about how XK and EC were discovered, but barely have any information on the discovery of Kaylee and Maddie. I know the PCA says the police found them, but what about before that? Why didn't anyone go check their rooms? If it's true DM and BF were concerned something happened to Xana, then wouldn't they have been concerned for the other girls as well? Why? Said, wouldn't they have tried to talk to them before calling friends over? I remember an interview with Kaylee's mom. Got a phone call from someone saying something bad happened to Kaylee. Does anyone remember if this was before or after the 911 call? I believe it was before the 911 call.
That's awesome, Nina. Thank you. Yeah, that's so weird.
Okay,
doesn't make any sense.
Here's the Bethany Punk theory. Hey guys, I'm a big fan of true crime, especially the Idaho murder. What I can't figure out how Bethany didn't wake up to the sound of her friends getting killed, or maybe did she wake up or maybe did she wake up? Maybe she was awake, but was too scared to go out of the room. Kaylee and Maddie were on, no, they weren't on the second floor, and Xana was able to hear what was going on the floor above her. Why didn't Bethany hear what was going on the floor above her?
Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, what we talked about this right before, what excuse, when you get to court and there, you can't tell me they're not going to be on the stand if they were in a goddamn house where people got murdered. There's no way they're not going to have those people. They're not going to talk from some other county or whatever dumb, but like the whole, why don't they have to give an alibi? Where's their alibi? Where's your 8-hour alibi of why you didn't call the cops?
Yeah.
The second you hear your roommate screaming you, why didn't you call the cops?
And it says, what if the police isn't telling us everything they know? Sorry if I'm missing something or if I'm wrong about something.
Well, here's the deal. When you call 911, though, you don't talk to the cops. I mean, you may. They may call you.
When you call 911, you talk to the dispatcher.
Right. And I've called 911 and I've talked to the police officer after the issue has been resolved or when they needed more information from me, but not on the phone while it was happening. Or I didn't call and a cop answered. It was like, what can I do for you? It's it had nothing like that.
Okay, it says, planted evidence. Brian Koberger's potential defense revealed amid DNA battle. I think I can believe that. I think half the shit going on is they planted that DNA.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about all the DNA stuff being planted, but I'll tell you what, from what we've seen, sure doesn't look like there's a very strong case here, which is scary.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it's 5 hours away from here, so I'm sure everything's fine, but that's not very far for a murderer. What about that thing we were talking about earlier, though, Robert? The other 2 murders also being on the 13th. You like numbers?
Yeah. Oh, you talking about the Amityville?
No, I was talking about the woman in Washougal. And
Washougal? I didn't know nothing about that.
Yeah, there was a couple, or maybe the couple was in Washougal. I don't know. Nina sent me articles. And they were really close together to here. Like I could drive to Moscow in 5 hours. I could be in Seattle in like 8.5, maybe 9. I could be in Portland in like 7. I could be in Eugene in like 6 hours probably. So everything's not really that far. I mean, it's farther. I guess I think in my impression of being on the East Coast, things seem a lot closer, but it's just not, that doesn't seem far to me, I guess. Kind of like when we were talking about Jack going to his parents' cabin. And I was like, yeah, it seems normal.
Oh, hey, I found the Gonzalez and Coronado family statement.
For the new one? The new one?
Why are the victims' families so misunderstood? We just want justice for our loved ones. Everyone around can claim they understand our feelings and sympathize with us, but they never really understand what we want, which is fairly simple. We want communication. We want efficiency in prosecution. We want a court that will make timely decisions, and we want a fair trial.
Yeah.
We only want to do this once. The theme of this
Yeah.
case, that is the controlling narrative on how decisions are made by all parties. This idea that if we overthink, take more time, delay, second guess, and consider every possible thing, that somehow that will keep the parties from making mistakes is fool's gold. The problem
Oh
is
no,
that
that's
the problem is that you can't control what you can't control. Whatever decisions are made during this trial, we will be reviewed and looked at by other parties, either on appeal or criticism by the public. So why don't we just get on with with the case instead of worrying about making mistakes? The illusion by everyone involved is that they can control what happens is frustrating. A jury will hear the evidence and return a verdict, but we need to get there sooner rather than later. There is a quote by S.H. Payer in one of his poems that says, "Make a decision as wisely as possible and then forget about it. The moment is absolute certainty never arrives. We want to start healing. We do. We want to find justice, and we try to move on from this horrible tragedy. So please start making some decisions, get to work, and quit playing the delay game."
here, and I understand. I understand. We all understand. Like, this is not a murder case to those people. You know what I mean? The parents of these children are never. I mean, it's not the same. Any of
Yeah.
us looking at this is not the same. We don't. No matter how upsetting it is that any of the theories or things that are, close-ish to any of us, that's none of our kids. So, like, clearly it's pretty much the worst thing ever. But
Yeah.
I don't know, I would never like, clearly, again, those people, I can't feel any worse for them. They're just too sad. But all the things in place in law, the reason it's taking so long, the gag order, the cops, detectives, whoever, that can't tell the parents things, it's all for good reason. None of it is for just delusion. You know what I mean? Technically, look, that's to say that all these people are, straight edge and they're all like really, they're all doing the right thing. Let's say everybody is doing the right thing in the law and for the LE part of this, but the main reason and I feel that's why I feel so bad reading this from those parents. Like, yeah, know that of course you want answers and you want all those things, and I would love you to have them, but you also can't really make any guarantees that you're not going to say something. You slip up in interviews when you don't know anything already. So, like, what are they going to do? Tell them all the information and then this kid gets off, or the killer gets away because they told the dad we have X and Y, and then they figure out, that some way around that. You know what I mean? There's reasons that we don't know. It's all, and when we find out, that's going to be, I hope all the reasons are really good, like really, really interesting things happened in here with all the thought that all of us have thought, all the different takes that we have on this. I really hope that it's not just a simple weird answer, which sucks. Yes. Yeah. I want it to be Occam's razor answer also, but at the same time, God, there's all the possibilities. Like you said, like, what if those kids weren't even in the house? What if they got murdered right there in the parking lot and got drug over to the house? Why isn't there blood though?
Very good possibility.
Somebody, and it might have been Bubbly also, had a video. It might have been Tommy. Somebody had a video of what looked like somebody wrapped in plastic, like inside of a car, right? Did you guys see that? That was a trip. And then
No,
the comment,
I didn't see that.
I think it was Tommy, and this made the comment. Somebody made a comment about how it doesn't this like, can't you see the body? Can you just see a head here? And I was looking at it and I'm like, I don't, but I could, like when you look at a cloud and I say, do you see
Yeah.
a turtle? And you're like, no, but do you see the dragon? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like maybe we're seeing two different things in the shadows of a window, and that's not really the best view from those cameras, which is unfortunate, or at least what
Yeah.
we're seeing. At least the images they've given us. I don't know how much better quality it could be. Probably not that good.
Yeah.
But,
Just like
I
this
mean,
post from Inside Looking. This post from Inside Looking says, I think since we know that the sheath was left at the murder scene, we can confirm that Inside Looking was Brian. I called him out 32 days ago with a reply and to one of his comments when I asked him, "Are you him?"
uh-huh.
This is all the posts from Inside Looking.
Oh, it's so creepy. It's like all talking to yourself. Are you just talking to yourself? That's just weird. I've
See,
never done
like right
heroin.
here,
Maybe does heroin make
right
people
here
talk
is
to themselves?
right here is deleted. That was Inside Looking right there. That's deleted. True, but my point, this is someone asking him. True, but my point is that the PCA, though consistent with some things that IL said, in no way confirms that it is Brian. And it was deleted, said that is the truth. I'm gonna have to look.
It's,
I'm
it's
gonna have to
Reddit.
look. Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah,
I
it's
guess.
Reddit. I'm gonna have to look. Yeah, I think I'm not sure. I still have the stuff saved in my hard drive on my on this new
Oh,
laptop.
Jamie saved it.
I had a and I had all the posts from Mr. Looking. Let's see if I find it. Social media findings. Accused Idaho killer repeatedly messaged one of the victims. I don't believe that.
What?
That he messaged one of the victims.
That would be a really good way to get caught. That would be a really good like timestamp to get back to on their phones since they have their phones.
Yeah.
They could look at block numbers or whatever. I assume all that data is in there someplace, even if you delete it.
Okay. Brian Koberg messaged victim on Instagram before killings. Evidence is unconfirmed. BK's mom alleged Reddit post. I feel so bad for her. Seems like she's such a sweet and caring mother. Yeah. They got a lot of shit about Brian on Reddit.
Yeah, and I mean, there's so many subreddits though. There's so many weird, like, different things in there, and people post all the time. I'm actually only get from a couple Reddits. I'm sure there's more. Like, I get Alaska Reddits and Idaho 4 Reddits. So those are like the only things I ever get notifications for.
Now, see, I heard about Nomad Greek in Alaska. I heard that it's the person that owns
Robert, did you see
the person that what?
Go ahead. Oh, just that Ashley said that she put those in Discord for you. What you're searching, she they're in your Discord folder.
Okay.
We're kind of reading, Nina.
Okay, thank you, Miss Ashley. I'm not gonna do this on camera. Keep talking.
Yeah. Um, now I'm laughing because I looked back at chat and I'm like, oh, well, I'm kind of looking. But
No, you're inside looking.
I know I told you I was like, I'm so tempted. I don't even think I should say it out loud. I'm so tempted, you guys, to go online and be outside looking and just make like random comments and write thoughts and see if I can lure somebody into my conversation. Though I don't think I'm clever enough to do that, and I probably shouldn't say it in public. But I mean the
Really?
conversation between two people that are the same person are just bizarre. I mean, at the same time, the writing technique and everything is too similar to not be the same person. So that's weird. Like, if let's say there's some sort of underground incel thing going on, and thoughts really mean something, and these are all different people. I don't think they are, but you know what I mean. Like they're all like there's some sort of actual conversation going on there that we don't know the code words for. That's not what I really think, but I'm just putting it out there. Thoughts?
Thoughts.
Mm-hmm. I know they're super clever. They're all that's the thing. Brian is a really, really intelligent man who studied all these things that like I studied a lot of stuff in school that he studied, and I think that it's all going to be dependent on what kind of things that you're really interested in criminology, in crime. You know what I mean? Like I took a class in college. I think I might have told you this before. It was called Psychopaths and Their Crimes. And it was so cool. And one day we were talking about mass murderers, and it happened to be April 20th of like, I don't know what year that was, Columbine. Columbine was happening while we were in class talking about mass murderers. And so when we got back to the next class a couple of days later, everybody was just deadpan, like, what? Well, our teacher has to tell us more now. I mean, this is so crazy. This just happened because that was such a anomaly, technically, at the time. Not anymore, but at the time, that was, wow, this is crazy. These kids with their guns. And unfortunately, we can't say that still. But at the time, it blew my mind. That had to have been like the early 2000s or late 90s, right? And they're all,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. They are, Inan is super smart. That's why I was saying when he's talking, when I see his laughter, when I see his face and the way it's almost, I know the narcissist thing gets thrown around a lot and whatever, but you see that his mask slip thing, which is where I think is the things that are real devious to me about people, like when they're talking about one thing and then their face changes. You can see how they have different parts of their jaw, maybe, or their eyes light up differently, or their eyebrows, stay still while they're, talking about something serious. Just the way their face moves, and all of a sudden they're like, it's a different personality.
Get ready, because we're going to get into.
Oh, I love her.
Some of
My screen just went black for a minute.
What? We're outside looking.
Some of inside looking posts from Reddit. And then we're also going to listen to an interview that Steve Gonsalves did with King 5 News. I'm pretty sure that I've got proof that Brian Kohberger was inside the King Road house, inside looking. So as we look
Thank
at
you,
some
Bianca.
of Inside Looking's posts from Reddit, and the topic of this one is anyone still think it's the ex? And he is all over this one. No, LOL. The perp is not on that list, LOL. So why have a cleared list? So why have a list then?
Thanks, ladies.
That's not how it works. See the cleared list. He really did not want
Thank you,
these
ladies.
guys getting credit for what he did. He didn't want them to think, oh, the ex did it. Want them to think, oh, the ex did it and the cops just, blew it. He wanted this to be an investigation and him be the center of it and being in the center of it, talking about it and getting people's thoughts. That's why he directs them down a certain road. As he's pointing them down this path, he's circling certain pictures of evidence, things like that. He's talking about ladders, getting into the third floor from the outside. Here's a couple of photos of the King Road house showing the ladder. The ladder was even there the day that investigators were doing drone footage after the murders. And then another one says, what did you guys take from the dad's comments about the steps? And that is referring to this.
He doesn't have to go upstairs. His entry and exit are available without having to go upstairs or downstairs.
One of them.
He doesn't have to go up the steps. Let's stop playing games, guys. I need somebody to step up and be an outfit. Be somebody to be a leader. Don't make me do it. I don't want to do it. He doesn't have to go up the steps. Their points of damage don't match. I'm just going to say it. It wasn't leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that at the funeral. I paid for that. It's my right. You ain't taking that from me.
Personally, Ashley, I think Inan was inside looking in Papa Rogers.
If you don't want to say nothing, that's your bet. But don't say I'm leaking anything. I paid that bill.
Seeing that footage now gives me goosebumps.
He was an alpha there,
to see
wasn't
him
he?
go from mildly frustrated to absolutely frustrated.
Yeah.
He
is
really sears through me.
I mean, no, absolutely
that
nothing
being
wrong
said,
with that guy
with Inside
that way,
Looking,
but he
going
comes
along with
across
this
very, very strong.
video,
Man. He's a very strong
we've
dad.
got Inside Looking answering a question from somebody who says, what did you take from the
So
dad's
sad.
comments about the steps? Inside Looking says, isn't it obvious? So I take this to mean that X was the first target. Inside Looking also goes on to say that X was the first victim. What do you guys think of that?
Affidavit about how he had been by the house multiple times prior to the murders as well. I don't know if you guys knew that early on.
Steve's thinking, heard about it? Shit, lady, we discovered it.
Oh, it's so sad.
This here is what I never heard before. If you guys heard it, I apologize. But this was new to me, and I find it to be absolutely mind-blowing.
You know how close that is. If you've had a laptop, you walk out to your front yard, you're not going to get too far. You walk out to your front yard, you're not going to get too far.
Unless you're in a college
think I saw
town
that
and there's
part.
like
Wow.
50,000.
All right, and the next
free internet,
Inside
okay?
Looking, we have him talking about the point of entry. Check this out.
The entry point was the slider or the window. It was in the middle floor. So
what do you think? Do you think that that window really was touched, and that's why they were spending so much time on the evidence
Totally,
in that
Ashley,
kitchen
I
window?
agree.
Update, they needed me to sign a waiver form so that they could investigate something that was male related.
Inventor and chocolate maker.
Oh, this eye. Woolies chocolates are incredible.
Really?
Try one.
When do we start? Max is bringing you the hair-raising
Yeti sweat?
Yeti
Yeah,
sweat.
right.
Mind-blowing
What are you talking about?
tale of how it all began.
What are you
Welcome
watching?
to Wonka's.
Wonka, now streaming exclusively on Max.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got Max, so I might watch Wonka later.
Yeah, I'm sure it's good. I have
to see
not
your
seen
hard
it.
work go
Whoever in
unnoticed.
chat
Yeah,
earlier said
we've been
something
there too.
about Dune too. Stoked.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I just cannot see Hugh Grant playing an Oompa Loompa.
Hugh
So,
Grant's and Oompa Loompa in
we're
there?
working with
How
them. We're
weird.
not selling them out.
Is he all of them?
This is what Inside Looking had to say about the mail. More here than
No, he's one of them. It don't it the Wonka is like before Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory when he was
Right,
when he
right.
was like a young person, and you have Hugh Grant who's in green face paint, shrunk down to the size of an Oompa Loompa.
you think. Remember Christy Gonsalves saying this?
So, and her bake records, the amount of records on Kayla was probably, I think, fairly to say was more than the other victims. So, curious where that was.
Now I have a question. Why would Kaylee's bank records be more than the other victims? What was she
Well, here's what I
doing
think
to
is
make that?
here,
What
but
was,
you
well,
don't
no,
know how
what
much
was,
money
what
she
was she
has.
doing?
Just because she has all
No,
those
you
bank
just said
accounts
her.
doesn't mean she's got a bunch of money in them. You know, like if
I
you
mean
think
that.
about
Yeah,
it, think about I have the like an account in Alaska that I've had for like 40 something years, or I'm only in my 30s, so I don't know how I've had it that long. But like I have probably three different bank accounts that are like a technical brick and mortar bank, and then I've got Venmo, and I've got PayPal, and I've got all these other banks online. Like I don't have $1 billion. I just have all these different banks. It doesn't mean I have a lot of money. So that's I mean, I get it, but she's also a 20-something-year-old girl, and maybe this is how there's all these like bank offers sometimes, and like, well, if you open an account with us, we're gonna give you $500 or something. I mean, generally not a real thing, but
well,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah. I had a comment on one of my videos earlier. Asking me if how do we know that she wasn't on OF? I'm like, I don't know.
What's OF?
OnlyFans.
Oh yeah. You know what? And yet, look. If that was a thing, I think we'd know. Is what I think. I think we would really know about
Yeah.
that. And if she was on OnlyFans, I have a feeling you could make a good deal of money on there. I don't know how much. I mean, I've been told I could sell my feet, and which sounds like a good side job. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm saying that
You can
people
sell
are
your
like,
feet.
yeah, people. Somebody told me that they're like, you could have a video. Oh yeah, and trading accounts too, Ashley, for sure. You could have videos where you're like, people have those fetishes for feet, Robert. And you could just like videotape your feet, and people will pay for that shit. So I'm just saying, there's all sorts of weird,
Okay.
We had that woman who got murdered, but I don't know what her OnlyFans was. Who knows? I don't know what her channel did.
I think the only person that would buy a foot fetish is Al Bundy.
Quite possibly. That's funny.
Because I mean, he did sell shoes for a living.
He does. He did sell shoes for a living.
And I got asked a very interesting question earlier by my brother. He goes, what would happen if Married with Children was made nowadays? I'm like, it wouldn't be on the air long.
Yeah, I don't even know what it would be about. I mean, the time period. This is actually really funny because I'm supposed to be going to an 80s party tomorrow.
Yeah.
And as I looked up at 80s outfits and costumes, there's a bunch of Peggy Bundy costumes. And I thought it was super funny because you could just see her walking around in those heels. and just her body like just the way she walked and everything. And it was such a great, incredible show for the time period. And I wonder, like a lot of stuff when you watch stuff that's from that age and you're watching it, you're like, wow, this is not that good. Like I've watched a couple shows, but I thought like they're too much. Like I watched some shows that I liked back, in the day or whatever term to use. I watched Perfect Strangers, and it was like the saddest thing I've ever seen. Like a dog dies, or the guy's dog, or I don't know. It was super sad. I was like, this is sad. And then I watched another show from that time period, and the episode really had some. It might have been like Silver Spoons or something, and the episode had some too deep of meaning for me, where I was like, man, I don't know if I can watch sitcoms if they were like this now, but maybe they are.
Back when Perfect Strangers came out and Silver Spoons came out, I was a kid. I was almost a teenager when Perfect Strangers came out, and Silver Spoons and Married with Children and what is it, The Simpsons, and all these shows that are on now were on when I was a young teenager, when I was about 13 years old.
Right.
And see, I'm Gen X, and I've got a lot of friends that are Gen X, and a buddy of mine, he goes, he said, you know what the difference between he said, you know what the difference between Gen X, millennials, and Gen Z is? I'm like, what? He goes, Gen X was built different.
On our own. We were built on our own. We built ourselves. Nobody helicoptered us.
Yeah.
I think that's really, it's just it's that sort of thing though. And that takes us back to that discussion of the clad in black type thing, where it's like, you don't say that. I don't say that. I'm in my 40s. I'm Gen X. I don't say clad in black. I honestly might see that in a book or something. And I colloquially speak like I try to keep up with the times when I'm speaking with people, but I honestly couldn't tell you a time I think I've ever heard anyone use the word clad.
Yeah, that's right, Eric. When we were growing up, there was no such thing as internet. Our social media was going outside playing and going down to our friend's house. That was our social media.
Right. Yeah. Riding our bikes. Our social media was riding our bikes to somebody else's house.
Nothing half-asses. I remember that Billy Bobka episode, rolling out the dough. Be sure to roll it slow. LMAO.
That's super funny. Because my dad was from Greece, right? So I always thought that was really interesting. Yeah. Our family's from Greece, so I watched that show and I always kind of thought like, oh man, we're from the island of Mypos, but that's not a real place. So
no. Yeah. I was born in 1972. I'm 50. I just turned 50 years old last year, so I'll be 51 here in a few months. And I remember as a kid watching Evel Knievel and watching the original Transformers and G.I. Joe and Thundercats and Silverhawks and a buddy of mine said, how come when you were a kid you grew up watching the violent cartoons? I'm like, what?
That's all there was.
And I'm like, what? Silverhawks, Thundercats, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and I even watched this Japanese show called Space Giants, which was it was only on here in the States back in the mid to late 70s, and it wasn't on very long. It was about a race of giant robots that can transform into jets, and it was like live action. It was some cheap Japanese freaking cheap Japanese freaking show that was only on the air for like 3 years, and it was made by the same people that made Godzilla back then.
Oh,
Toho Studios.
interesting.
But yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I saw the original Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and yes, guys, I rooted for Darth freaking Vader.
Because he was his father. You were like, oh, it's your dad. That's super funny.
No,
We were in the sticks. I think I only saw one of those.
No, I just thought Darth Vader was cooler looking than Luke, so, I rooted for Darth Vader.
That's funny.
Let's get back to this video real quick before we.
Oh yeah,
we
I
shut the
forgot.
live down.
Yeah,
We
sorry
got, like,
guys.
to, like-
Could have owned things that their parents didn't know they had. They're grown-ups, you know.
Yeah.
So when they took their possessions, it's just the way that metered
All right, guys,
out
that is
or
our
worked out. It was so strange.
But see, here's what's weird. You know, just like Christy and Steve said, when they went to the storage locker, their daughter, you know, like Christy said in that one interview, all their daughter is remembered by is a room number. Room number 2.
Right? So that
And-
makes me question that because there's a lot of stuff in that house. So they did box everything up and take it out. They just left some stuff there. I mean, they had a whole U-Haul out front, right?
Yeah, they had a U-Haul out front. They were taking some evidence, which they took the beds as evidence, and then the rest went to a storage locker, and like Kaylee and Maddie and Xana, and I don't know if Ethan wasn't living here, but Kaylee, Maddie, and Xana's rooms were room number 1, room number 2, room number 3. And like Christy said, it was kind of
That's
hard
weird,
for her
Nina.
because, and she said it was kind of hard for her knowing that her daughter would be remembered just as a room number.
Yeah,
Because the cops.
It's so hard.
Yeah, because the cops told Steve and Christy, all the boxes that say room number 2, that's your daughter's stuff. And she said, my daughter doesn't even have a name in this case. She just has a room number.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, she has a name in the 5-count indictment, but as far as her belongings, she's just known as room number 2.
Yeah. That's awful. That's just.
And see what I can't understand is Kaylee supposedly had the bigger room. She had the master bedroom, which had a queen size bed and an exit out onto the 3rd floor patio. Why didn't they sleep in there that night instead of sleeping in that tiny dinky room of Maddie's? They could have slept in the big room that had an escape route onto the 3rd floor balcony. I'd like to know that. But I don't think we'll ever know that. What do you think, Sophie? Sophie, you still there? Oh, guys, I think I lost her.
Am I gone?
No, you're here.
Okay, I was like, I'm talking to myself. What's happening? No, I don't know if we're ever gonna know. I want to talk about it some more. You guys want to talk about it some more with us next time we talk?
Yeah, I mean, this case is basically a one of a kind case, and possibly it's a once in a generation case. I mean,
I hope it's the only time it happens.
I mean, just like what's going on there in Delphi, that's
right.
A one of a kind case.
It is.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Oh, I do want to play a quick. I don't know if you remember me talking about Elijah Vu, the little 3-year-old boy.
Uh-huh,
That
yeah, yeah. What do you find out?
Okay. Well, I found out exactly what that poor little boy had to go through, uh, staying with the boyfriend of his mom.
Okay.
Just video loaded up real quick.
Oh, do I want to even know this? Oh, geez.
Yeah.
My mind has a whole bunch of awful scenarios. I just can't think of any. It's so sad.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, poor little guy. He's only 3 years old, and it's what he had to go through with staying at this guy's house. And apparently this guy is he's been convicted of child abuse.
Per this case or in the past?
In the past.
Right. Oh, wow. And yeah. What's wrong with us? What's wrong with humans in general? What are we doing?
Elijah Vu was first reported missing more than 2 weeks ago.
His mom, Katrina Bauer, and her boyfriend, Jesse Bang, both appeared in court today. You just heard a statement from Katrina's mom, read by prosecutors. Katrina's mom calling her irresponsible and also did not want her daughter's bail lowered, fearing she would leave the area. We're also learning more about what happened in the days leading up to Elijah's disappearance.
A revised criminal complaint details how Vang would discipline Elijah by using cold showers and timeouts where the child was forced to stand for 1 to 3 hours. Investigators also found a picture of Elijah laying in a bed, blindfolded. Bruises can be seen on his neck, jawline, and left arm. Well, volunteers and family members have searched for Elijah nearly every day since he was reported missing.
Rebecca Clough goes in depth explaining key factors that play into finding a missing child.
On the 17th day in the search for Elijah Vu, his mother makes a court
Not
appearance
okay,
for
Nina.
bail.
Not
Her
okay.
attorney saying Katrina Bauer, child found.
Obviously, this is a very high-profile case. There's a lot of high emotion going on, but there's also high emotion going on with Miss Bauer. She's been worried sick, not knowing where her son is.
Elijah was reported missing on February 20th, and an Amber Alert was issued for him. The fact that Elijah's case
I didn't
is
know they
high
found
profile
him.
is something Peas in Their Pod, a national organization dedicated to helping find missing children of color, says is something that doesn't happen often.
His circumstance is maybe a little bit different than the average child or person of color who goes missing and gets absolutely no attention.
USA Today found that in reports involving white and Hispanic children, Amber Alerts helped in 1 in 3 cases. When it comes to missing Black children, that dropped to 1 in 7. Even though Black children receive Amber Alerts at the same rate they are reported missing. Borders says through her decades of experience trying to find missing children, Elijah's case has so much working against him.
The odds are against him because of his race. The odds are against him because of the length of time that he's been missing. The first few hours are the most critical. The odds are against him because seemingly the 2 people who were caring for him, and I say care very loosely, they are not being truthful. And what they've admitted to doing is already horrific in and of itself. So he has all these odds stacked against him.
But Borders says in many cases, there are signs before a child ever disappears that something isn't right. And she urges the community to do more.
Something like this didn't happen in a vacuum. I'm sure there were telltale signs of the horrors that this baby boy was experiencing or enduring, I should say, at home. So if you see something, say something, intervene.
Elijah is just one of 2 children in the country right now with an active Amber Alert, according to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. It says most of the children with an alert are found within hours. However, it shows there are still 38 children with an Amber Alert that is no longer considered active that are still missing. Borders says if someone you know goes missing, besides reporting it to police, she says, be loud. That
No
means
shit.
post it on social media. Tell everyone you know to share it. Hold rallies. Call news organizations. Basically, anything you can do to draw attention to the fact that someone you love is missing will help. Reporting in Milwaukee, Rebecca Clough, TMJ4 News.
You guys are killing me.
We're killing you. No, we're not.
They're killing I may have chosen a poor choice of words, right? That might have been a poor choice of words.
Additional child neglect charge relating to her 6-year-old daughter. Katrina Bauer alleges that she has no idea where
I'm
her
laughing,
son
and
Elijah
then we're
is
talking
and
about
is
these
distraught
poor
at
kids.
his disappearance.
After scathing testimony from Bauer's mother, the judge denied Bauer's request for a reduction in bail today.
I gotta be honest, is that I normally don't watch these cases because it makes me too sad.
During Katrina
Most of the
Bauer's
time, I
time in
don't
court
watch the
on
cases about the
Thursday, we
kids.
learned
It's
through
too hard.
Bauer's attorney that she does not know the whereabouts of her missing son, 3-year-old Elijah Vu. Bauer is also facing a new charge of neglecting a child.
There's a lot of high emotion.
Now, here's what's very interesting with this case. The punishment that he was receiving over there at the boyfriend's house, he was forced to stand in a corner. He was forced to stand in a corner 1 to 3 hours a day. His diaper was only changed once a day. And if his diaper was overflowing, then he was thrown in a cold shower and left in the cold shower for 2 hours.
What the fuck? Why?
Yeah.
That's so
weird. That was the boyfriend. Mind you, his mom sent him to this guy's house for a week for discipline and punishment. And the mom, the lady right there in the orange, who I hope her and her boyfriend rot in fucking hell or rot in fucking prison or whatever. Yeah, I know, Nina. How much could he do wrong?
No shit.
But
no kidding. No kidding. Not with somebody influencing him and like explaining him what he should be doing, what the right way to do things is. I mean, I've been in, I've had my kid, stepson, whatever, boyfriend's son, since he's been with him since he was 5. And the things that I've learned from that is just incredible to me. But the things that haven't been taught to a child by parents who are no longer married because they think the other person is taking care of it is intense to me.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of things that were like, you would have thought this already, but if you don't have, if you've got a parent that's at work all day and has a crappy boyfriend and all these things that it could be possibly happening to that child, you could never, you wouldn't learn. You'd have no, what do you base it on? How do you base your learning? You're not old enough for kindergarten. You're not learning from a teacher. You're learning from other children, and they don't know anything either.
Yeah, see, here's what's weird though. That mom of this little boy changed her story twice to the prosecutor on where she was the night he went missing.
Yeah, so I haven't watched any of this, Eric, because I saw it and I was like, no, this is too sad. I can't see it because it's all like Tony said, like here, that's we see these things, and that kid didn't wander off and is just missing.
Yeah.
You
I
know
mean,
it. It's almost instinctually anymore. You see, like, think about what about Summer Wells? Just gone.
Yeah.
Just gone. Never. And that was an intervention type thing, you guys. So there was a time when the intervention had been, like, what is it? What is the Child Protective Service? They've been called before.
Yeah.
They had gone to the house before. Is it like the cop we saw with Kopaka that could have done something at the time, but they go like,
And didn't.
we have other things to do, and so we're going to give you the spiel, like the kids getting tickets in Banfield. Be like, oh, well, this other guy lives right here. You're going to take, oh, your can's not open. Oh, okay. Or whatever happened there with the guy who just like walks off, and they're like, oh, everybody's here. Do they get tickets? I think he wrote them tickets, right? So like, whatever, who cares?
Yeah.
It's so like, it's nothing. Those kids are going to pay a fine. It's not like they're going to be told, like, there's not going to be a difference made there. So like all the different levels of that are sad, because there's probably real protocol in place that could lean either way, like one's an over assumption of helping, where you're like, you're not helping, you're making a situation worse somehow by being there. I don't know if that's a side. But it doesn't look like a lot of these things are helping.
But yeah, one of my subscribers asked me earlier, in one of my videos I did a couple of days ago, if I would do an update on Elijah View, and I promised her I would, so that's why I was doing this.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely want to hear about it. I just hadn't looked at it, so I was like, I'm just confused. Did they find him? Did they find this little boy?
No, not yet. There's still an Amber Alert, and he's still missing.
Okay.
And his mom and her boyfriend knows where he is at, but they're not saying.
And that's what you said. That so I've only seen titles of videos on YouTube that I went by that were like, she looks like she's lying. She looks like she knows something. And then today I saw something that said something along the lines of, they said together they dropped her off at school in the morning, and then she never came home, but she also never made it to school. Is that basically their story?
Elijah Boo is the 3-year-old little boy. His mom is sitting right there in the orange. Yeah, his mom is sitting right there.
Sorry, I wasn't looking at this. I was looking at the chat. Okay.
Yeah, his mom is sitting right there in the orange. She's been booked into the county jail in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, on child neglect charges. And
oh my God, why is everybody crazy from Manitowoc? Okay, sorry, go on. Now I remember what we're talking about, Robert. Go on.
And her boyfriend has been booked in on the same. Well, mind you, he's 3. She sent him over to her boyfriend's house for a week for what she called discipline and punishment, and she knew exactly what the punishment was. Yeah, this little boy had to stand in the corner for 1 to 3 hours, or stand by the bed of the boyfriend's bed, stand there for 3 hours and pray. His diaper only got changed once a day, and if he overfilled his diaper, if he overfilled his diaper, the boyfriend would throw him in the cold shower and make him stand there for 2 to 3 hours.
It's gotta be really painful. That's a weird punishment.
Yeah, it is a weird punishment. And the cops, when they went out to the boyfriend's address after the dude was arrested, they started collecting evidence from from the big bin outside. Oh
yeah, they found his shoe. I remember.
Yeah, they found a little boy's shoe sitting next to the apartment building. That's all they found was one shoe.
I can't. So they're both in custody still. The parents, the guy, what mom and the boy and the
Yes,
boyfriend, both in
they're
custody
both.
still.
Okay, yeah, and they found the car that he was in. The little boy was in.
Breaking news now in the case of missing 3-year-old Elijah Vu. Two Rivers police have released video of a car that they're calling a car of interest. They have the vehicle in their possession. They're now asking you to look through your surveillance cameras to see if you spot this car.
This is the actual picture of the vehicle. It's a 1997 four-door Nissan Altima. It's kind of a beige color with a Wisconsin registration beginning with an A and ending with a 0. And at this point, Two Rivers police are requesting that homeowners and businesses review their own surveillance camera footage captured on February 19th. That was the day before Elijah Vu was first declared missing. And they're asking for you to look at your security footage between the hours of 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. And this doesn't just go for those in the Two Rivers areas. They're asking for people even in adjacent counties, because of that 7-hour time span, to look at their surveillance video. So if you have a home or a business that has a security camera, a Ring camera, anything like that, look on it. That's what the Two Rivers Police Department is asking you to do. And if you happen to see this vehicle, go to our website. We have a special list.
I'm starting to wonder. I mean, he's been missing for 17 days. I'm starting to wonder if maybe he's not among the living anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's a pretty good assumption. Wow. I mean, just think about this. I don't know, and maybe chat people know, how long can you stand in cold water like that? Because, right? I mean, if you're talking about freezing ass cold water, how long can you really stand there I'm assuming this child weighs, like 30 pounds or something, right? It's a 3-year-old.
Yeah. Now, I guess there was pictures of the little boy. They didn't show it on the news, laying on the guy's bed, and his hands were tied above his head with
what?
Yeah.
And the guy took a picture?
Yeah, the guy took a picture, and the little boy had bruises all down his arms, all up his back and around his neck.
No. Oh, is he alive in the picture?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if he was alive or he was dead, but they were talking about it on the news. The video I showed before this last one, they were talking about it on the news that there was a picture found in the apartment that the guy took, and the little boy had bruises all up and down his arms and his neck, and his hands were tied with wire.
Oh, yeah. I honestly, why? I hate, when all these things are happening right now, like you got like the Rust case, and you're like, this woman's not the person who shot the gun, but we're still going to charge her. So or like the boy who shot the people at a school, and his mom's been charged, and now it's the Crumblies, and now his dad's on trial, right? So people are being held accountable at new levels. Like these things are going to set precedents for a lot of different stuff in the future. Recently, a lot of these cases have been like you're not just getting away with being the second level person, like you did something too. So that's pretty crazy that no matter where this child is, this guy who doesn't have a job, I guess, and just spends 24 hours a day with this kid, it's not like the kid can be by himself. So, you know what I mean? So I don't know how that worked. So the kid, somebody in chat said does he not have a job? Yes, exactly. What's he doing? He's there all day long. He's got this child. And so he should be, teaching the child whatever he assumes the child needs to learn. And then playing with this 3-year-old kid. It's a 3-year-old. So if the kid's not with him, clearly he has an accountability there. And then his mom even thinking that this is semi okay at all. I mean, I'm a little disgusted to think that a woman with a child, because it's not this guy's kid. I mean, like, would think that it was okay to just have some schmo boyfriend and I'm gonna let my kid stay over at his house for a week, and I'm not gonna be part of that. I'm gonna just go ahead and let some guy that I don't. I mean, clearly she hasn't known him for more than 3 years if the kid's 3 years old, right? So or 4 years, you know what I mean? Like, what are the odds? but I think, like, I don't get that sound. That to me is something that she needs to be held accountable for, whatever justice there is in this case. This is like that's child abuse, in my opinion. Just doing that, no matter what this guy did to her kid, that wasn't right.
No, and just by looking at the guy, he's either Korean or Vietnamese by descent, and he's got a prison neck tat under his neck.
Oh,
and
does it say anything interesting?
Well, he's been convicted of child neglect. He has a prior conviction of child neglect.
Okay. Well, that's child abuse, really, right? I mean, neglect, abuse, either way. You can't.
Yeah.
They're
Nina
children.
Kelly says, no, not for a visit. She sent him there for discipline. Why would you send a 3-year-old little boy over there?
Yeah, no, yeah. That's what I'm saying, Nina. Like, no, there should never be, there's no good reason for that woman to say, my 3-year-old kid's going to stay with this guy that I don't, I mean, this guy with look, here's the deal. Some people have neck tats. Maybe they're not bad people. Maybe they make bad choices, but like, I don't, I just, we got to go on that. Like, there's some whatever, but at the same time, that discipline, you're going to let somebody else discipline your child.
Yeah. I am
so
that rogue mod's not here anymore. I don't know why any ruler is hidden.
I haven't been out of the thing to do hiding anybody. Yeah, I don't. I mean, just that. It's almost like you're asking for something bad to happen. Like, well, this is weird. The fact that they're being charged with this is like, you know what I mean? The fact that there's still an Amber Alert.
Yeah.
Is interesting, but you're talking about a body. And I hate saying that. Like, you're talking about this like tiny little frame of a person.
Yeah.
Is he trying to say that somebody picked him up? Well, then where was he? Why wasn't he looking after this child?
Well, see, here's the thing, though. The mother has changed her story twice with the prosecutors on exactly where she was the night that he went missing.
Oh, what'd she say? Where'd she say she's at?
From what the prosecutor was telling the judge, is that she has changed her story twice, and both times she has given a false statement to the prosecutor. So obviously the prosecutor knows something. But I'm going to wrap this live up. We'll discuss this more on either Monday or Tuesday, because I don't want to make this a 3-hour live.
You guys want to go to bed?
Yeah. Yeah, and like earlier, this creator I was watching, she had an 18-hour live, and I don't want.
Oh my
God. Do an 18.
I bet we could talk for that long, you guys. We probably could.
Yeah, but I don't want to do an 18-hour live.
No. Let's wrap up this live and chat with everybody next week.
Yeah, IMO. I hope you come back for my live next Monday or next Monday or so. I'll make sure and schedule it so that
Good
that way
night.
everyone in chat knows when and knows exactly what day I'm scheduling it for.
What? Monday?
Yeah,
Is that what you said? 18 hours, I know.
yeah. It was an 18-hour. I
Let's
started. I started watching it last night, and I only watched it for like an hour and a half. And I went to bed. I went to bed, and I woke up this morning, opened up my laptop, and it was still on. It was still on that same page, and it was
Whoa.
the live. The live was still going.
Whoa. What? Why? Why do that to yourself? It was fun to
I
chat
don't
to you.
know. Well, I hope you
That's
adore
cool.
me too. And nothing half-assed.
I adore all you guys. It's super fun to chat with everybody.
But yeah, I opened up my laptop this morning, and it was still on that same page, and normally I'd see like the little squares of like what's next. The live was still going. So I switched over to something else I was watching. I think I was watching Dog the Bounty Hunter for a while, and I clicked back over, and it was still going. So I clicked back over to Dog the Bounty Hunter to watch that for like another hour and a half. Clicked back over, it was still going.
Oh my God, was it interesting? Did you get back and like was somebody sleeping? I could hear snoring. Was there snoring?
There was one person watching. Mind you, when it started last night, there was like over 600 people watching, and this was like about 11 in the morning when I clicked back over to see the live finally ending, and there was one person watching.
Yeah, that's not good.
No,
It's kind of funny. It's like, what is that? That's a crazy thing to do.
Yeah, and I told my son, I was texting AR about it, and he goes, no idea. So I text him. I'm like, I'm glad I'm not doing that. I can't. I wouldn't be able to handle it.
No, we'd be in the weeds. We'd be talking about all sorts of crazy stuff. We'd be like, what about that guy at the grub truck with the trash can? We'd be everywhere.
Yeah. Oh, like nothing half-assed said, especially the memory lane trip we took briefly, and then we briefly took LOL.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We veered off. That's why I said sometimes we get in the weeds because it's interesting and it's real. We're real humans having a conversation. That's what's funny. We're just having a conversation, and sometimes if things sound more interesting for a second, or things lead into other things, and that's the kind of what I was saying earlier. Like we get all these viewpoints from everybody, and it's kind of really interesting. I mean, like I'm in Idaho. I have a different viewpoint. I've seen I knew about it the day it happened too, but not at 1 p.m. But I mean, we all knew. We all knew.
Yes, I live in Kansas, and I've lived here my whole life, except for the few times I've moved out of the state just to get the hell away from here for a while. I've lived in Wisconsin. I've lived in Oklahoma. I've lived in Colorado. I've lived in Missouri, and I always seem to just come back to this state. And I get tired sometimes of people saying, "Hey, follow the yellow brick road."
Oh, right. Everybody's got to make a Kansas joke. Yeah. Yeah. I get a lot of potato jokes.
Oh, because the Idaho Spud.
Yeah, we get a lot of because we grow potatoes here. If you didn't know that, but like not where I'm at all. So I just think it's funny because when I moved here, everybody asked me about the potatoes, and I thought they must be here someplace. I know we're known for it.
Yeah, like I was telling my little brother, I've been covering the Idaho court case, and he says He said, say that again. I said, I've been covering the Idaho court case. And then he just looks at me, he goes, I know you, Idaho.
Yes, yes. I get that too. No, that's our joke is Idaho, no Idaho. There's a lot of I know I have a lot of Idaho sayings, a lot of Alaska sayings. You know, when I grew up there, we have a lot of, you know, like Juneau what?
Yeah, well,
Juneau what?
Just like that one episode, Married with Children, when he was talking about pregnant women, and he said he would send all the pregnant women to Al Bundy said he would send all the pregnant women to a state that's not used, and he said take Idaho. He said I would call it Pregnaho.
That's funny. That is funny. See, it's still funny.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Should we talk? We talk on Monday.
Yeah, we talk on Monday. I'm going to wrap this up, and if you want to step down, Zoe, I'm going to wrap this up.
Yeah. I love you guys. I'll see you in chat in a second.
All right, guys. You have a good night, and I hope this live was informative. And I want to thank all my wonderful mods. Thank you for being here. Thank you for basically keeping me on the straight and narrow, and helping me with some ideas here and there. And I want to thank you. I love you guys. Love you, Bianca, Micah, Ashley, if you're still in chat. I love all my subscribers, and I love you too, Sophie. You're one of my mods. And I will see you guys either Monday or Tuesday. Peace.